The Carolina Panthers host the New York Jets this Thursday in a joint practice, and then we play them this week here for preseason 2. Now, the offense has been looking kind of suspect, I'm not going to lie to you, but there's a little bit of a silver lining that I think we need to talk about. But you know what time it is. Let's go. All right, so the Carolina Panthers had practice today, and practice was kind of short. The defense kind of got after the offense, and practice kind of was over in about an hour and like 10, 15 minutes, man. It was kind of weird, but, you know, it is what it is. At the end of this practice, Dave Canales had the offense and some defensive players running suicides back and forth on the field. You know, that's the punishment that you do when you ain't doing too good. And right now, our offense isn't, in my opinion, clicking like how I would want them to click or how we thought they should be clicking. Offensive line is still having some issues, and I think that we're shoring that up. We did just get rid of the thicker kicker over the weekend, and we did bring in another offensive lineman to kind of shore up that offensive line, at least for camp sake. You know, we have 2 more games left, and we don't need any more injuries to our offensive line. The Carolina Panthers were very, very starch in their position and not playing any number 1 or first string players this past Thursday in the game against the New England Patriots, which I think was pretty okay. You know, bad conditions, I mean, right now we're evaluating what we have. And I think that that's what you want to do in preseason. You know, you want to see what you have, what kind of depth pieces, do you need to keep from what you have right now? What depth pieces need to go? And this is the time that you evaluate. I know we want to see deep passes down the field. We want to see an electric offense, which I want to see that as well. But this is the time frame where we really sit back, we evaluate what we have, and we make a decision, in the next 2 weeks on who's going to be on this team, who's not going to be on this team, who's going to be on practice squad, And even today, Evero's press conference, he alluded to some things like this week here when the Jets come into town, we're going to be looking at some ways to put our players in difficult positions to evaluate them. And that's the key. You want to put these players in positions that they're going to see these type of situations coming up in the regular season. So we're going to take the best, the cream of the crop, and keep those. And whoever doesn't work out, we thank you. But yeah, this just isn't for you. So the main focus over the past couple of days has been Bryce Young. Has he grown from last year? Has he gotten better? And we don't know yet. We haven't seen Bryce Young. We've only seen him in training camp. We have seen some good plays that they've put up on Panthers Twitter, and we have seen some bad plays that they've put on Panthers Twitter. So we really don't know right now how much better Bryce Young has gotten because we haven't seen him play in a preseason game yet. So hopefully this week here, the Carolina Panthers make it a point to play the one so we can kind of see what Bryce Young is going to do, how he's going to move about in this offense, how much of a dog comes out of Bryce Young this season. And that's one thing that I'm very, very particular on. I want to see my quarterback, I want to see him with a little bit of moxie, you know what I mean? I want to see him, come out of his quote-unquote shell in a sense, man, and really for year 2, show us that personality that he has that we saw maybe at Alabama at times and, modern day where, you saw him take control in some cases, You saw that dog come out of him. We need to see that this year with Bryce Young, definitely for year 2. The one thing that I am still kind of on the fence on is our offensive line. I've beat this door down. I mean, they probably had to put 3 more doors up that I've knocked down concerning this offensive line. Now, while I do like the addition of Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis and Austin Corbett seem like he's doing pretty well at center for the most part, I still have issues at the tackle position. Yosh, the guy who we're supposed to bring in at swing tackle, he's been injured, and it doesn't look like he's going to be back anytime soon. He may be a practice squad guy with the thoughts that once he does, get healthy enough to be activated to the active roster, then he'll be, changed out, in a rotation with either Moten or with either Icky. But for right now, I'm still seeing our offensive line get destroyed in some cases, There was a play that I saw last week on Twitter where Taylor Moten got beat, Austin Corbett got beat, pressure up the middle. And, of course, our defense isn't playing at 100% because if they were, they would have sacked Bryce. They didn't sack him. Of course, it was like, you just knew that it was going to be a sack regardless. So I want to see a little bit more solidification on that offensive line. I want to see a wall being built, all right? And I want to see Bryce Young make the appropriate passes and the appropriate decisions, have that, acumen that you can do this. You feel me? So that we can, kind of quiet down the noise on whether or not year one to year two there was an upgrade, or did it stay the same, or is there a decrease? So those are some things that I'm looking at as far as this week here when we play the Jets, and hopefully we see Bryce Young preseason, week 2 against the Jets on Saturday. A couple of players that I feel have really, really done pretty good as depth chart pieces is Lamar Jackson at cornerback. I mean, this guy was pretty good in this New England game. And I think that him and Deshaun Jameson, these two guys here, I believe that they have at least some type of depth spot on the team. I don't think that they're playing this week. There was a list of players that were given to us that probably won't play in this week's preseason game because they did pretty okay, And given the fact that it was a rain game, the elements was against a lot of players, wet field, soggy field, slippery field, whatever you want to call it. They did pretty good. A lot of, contested passes that for us fell in our favor, whether or not it was a batted ball or incomplete pass or almost an interception. So I'm excited about, what Lamar Jackson has done. I think his name is Luigi as well, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's how you pronounce his name. Really, really good as well, man. So I'm excited about what we're doing on the defense, and it kind of goes back to what I said probably about 2 months ago, that Evero is going to, in a sense, outshine Dave Canales, in this first year of Canales being a head coach. Why? Because, Evero, he has a lot of rollover from last year, and there's not a lot that he has to reinstall. He's not starting over from scratch like a Dave Canales is. So Dave Canales, but to me, Dave Canales has the luxury and the liberty of not having to, put together every facet of this team. All he had to do was worry about the offense. And for right now, the offense is a little bit behind the defense, which is kind of typical of Carolina Panthers football. It's always been the defense that's always been a little bit of step ahead of the offense. So hopefully that changes. The one thing I will say is this: the play type and scheme that Canales has drawn up, I love it. I'm not gonna lie, I love it because it gives the quarterback and the team opportunities to go down the field and to stretch the field. The play calling that Plummer had over this past weekend was absolutely wonderful. The only problem is we didn't execute. But I saw a lot of plays that gave him the opportunity to, attack that secondary. And that's one thing that we need to do this year. We got to attack the secondary. We got to stretch the field. We got to keep the defense honest. If they play up in the box real close to the line of scrimmage, that's killing a lot of the plays that, we think Bryce Young can do effectively and efficiently. They'll be jumping routes and, doing all these other sorts of things, man, that wouldn't be advantageous for Carolina Panthers football. But if you start to incorporate, stretching the field, deep posts, those type of plays, man, going down the field, 9 routes down the field, deep crossers, play action, pre-snap, motion. Those things, man, get the linebackers with dirty eyes. I think that will bode well with us, and the play type and play concept and scheme, I think, would be absolutely amazing for Bryce Young. We just got to see it this week here. So, guys, that's how I feel. I think that, we're going to see a good show this week here. Hopefully we win this game. I want us to win this game so we can have some type of, breath of fresh air here in Carolina when it comes down to this team. So I am expecting for us to come out. I want us to get a win. I want us to win this game so that we can have some type of, good feeling on this team. But what's your thoughts, man? Drop everything down in the comment section. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Also become a channel member of Panthers Prime Podcast. It's only $3.99 a month. Yeah, you should do it. It's going to be amazing. This year is going to be great. We're going to have great content. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel, like, comment, and subscribe. And hey, you know what time it is, man. This is your boy Demetrius with the PvP, Panthers Prime Podcast. You know what time it is. Let's go.